Well, let's go ahead and dive into it. John requested we talk about the box first from
Yeah.
2009. We can go ahead and get that out of the way. This was Ray's pick. And summary for this movie: a small wooden box arrives on the doorstep of a married couple who know that opening will grant them $1 million and kill someone they don't know. Written and directed by Richard Kelly, who did Donnie Darko, Domino, and Southland Tales. Based on the short story Button Button by Richard Matheson. This was also done as a Twilight Zone episode. Probably some other shit too. It's kind of a story you've probably heard before, or it's been parodied in some way. But yeah, the thing that caught me off guard first was I didn't know why you would start a movie off with delivering exposition the way they did with that typewriter sound. Like that typewriter, the text going across the screen and this typewriter sound,
Yeah.
and it's for fucking ever.
I think it was supposed to be like an official government document, since the
Yeah,
guy
Yeah, of
worked
the
for
time
NASA.
too. That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. I was in your wheelhouse there. That's what I
Yeah.
thought too. I thought it had to do with the
faded
time
in,
of
just
it.
faded in, faded out. You want to just give us that information, which didn't ultimately matter whatsoever. They could have just not did that. But Cameron Diaz is the main problem with this movie for me. Her accent is problematic. It comes and goes like a summer breeze. It's like, is she supposed to be Southern? Who knows? She doesn't. I heard that she evidently retired from acting. That I don't know if this was the movie that spurred that decision or what, but
No, she was in
um,
movies after this.
I
Yeah.
think there's not everything. I don't hate this movie. I really liked Frank Langella, that character
Mhm.
he plays,
Mhm.
Arlington Stewart, that awesome scar on his face, just
Yep.
a cool character. Um, and do you guys know who Sal Lizard is? Did you see him as the Santa Claus in this? Sal Lizard, the vampire Santa. He goes to conventions a lot. He's a Santa Claus. He usually has blacked out eyes and vampire teeth. He like has a booth, but
Okay.
he played the Santa Claus in this. He also was in. Do you remember that back in the early internet days, the Tourette's guy? Do you remember him? Oh, Bob Saget. Remember that dude?
Mm.
Oh man, he played
So,
the father of that character on that internet series.
Hmm.
It was just interesting seeing him. Because years ago, some of our guys from Zombie Takeover TV interviewed him and had a whole
Hmm.
thing at this convention.
Neat.
But um, the acting at the end, especially um, when Cameron Diaz, spoiler alert, dies, that was like when an old West cowboy gets shot and just like it was so bad. Um,
yeah.
And I think that they could have done all it would have taken to bring this movie up a couple points is to remove her because James Marsden is really pretty good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just pair him up with a better wife. The kid even did a good job. The story's cool. I really like it. I want to watch that Twilight Zone version, but I think there was some things they could have did a little differently. I gave this a 7. I think that it would be a great double feature with Vivarium. It's got the same sort of Twilight Zoney kind of vibes, and
Right.
I like that movie too. So, but Ray, what do you say?
Right. No, I'm in agreement with you. This, by the way, this was a suggestion from a fan of our podcast. Our my buddy Jake, who does other podcasts with me, and is also in and has written several short stories for our. He created the Midnight Nexus.
Right.
So he loves Twilight Zone stuff, and he was like, "Hey, have you ever considered doing this movie?" And I think I saw it when it came out, but I didn't remember it very well. And so I watched the trailer, and then I asked you guys. So I wanted to let you know that's how it came about. Is
Right.
he was like, "Hey, you should check this out," and I like cosmic horror, which I kind of felt this fits into.
Mhm.
It's not as like ground in that as some of them are, but it felt like that to me. It was like more science fiction horror, kind of like Pandorum or some of the other cosmic horror. The one with Nicolas Cage that came out not too long ago.
Mhm.
But
Color out of
anyways,
space and stuff like
Color
that.
Out of Space, yeah. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I'm with you guys on this so far. I didn't really care much for Cameron Diaz. I've never really cared much for her. I know it sounds
No,
awful, but I think she's funny, like in those comedies
I guess.
from the
Anybody can be
early
funny
90s.
if you just put cum in their hair, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
uh,
I mean, I've got
Yeah.
it in my hair right now and I'm
yeah,
hilarious. So.
hilarious.
But yeah, so I never thought she was a great actress, but she's always usually okay, And this it was like she didn't want to be there at all for some reason,
Mm,
It really felt like, and she had weird shit as a character that she couldn't really play on. For it was like she was grossed out by her. There's a spoiler alert. There's this an appendage lossage that I
mm,
don't want to tell you if you haven't watched it, but there's a reason that she identifies with Frank Langella's characters so well, is that they have an affliction, right? I liked the moral quandary part of it. I thought the kid was great. I liked that it was shot like a '60s flick. It looked like a kind of Rosemary's Baby kind of vibe to me. I thought the aesthetic looked cool, or '60s and '70s, I guess,
mm,
type flick. Um, like I said, some of the things I didn't like, it seemed to drag on, which I hardly ever say, but it seemed like the middle part of it, especially, I was like, where is this going and why is it taking so long to get there at this point? Like there was a lot of superficial shit that didn't even need to be the whole car ride, getting
mm.
James Marsden part could have been a different, quicker thing. I mean, there was
Well,
a whole bunch.
almost every piece of weird, like water stuff, like
Yeah,
like all the portals and stuff, that could have been taken all away. Why that we don't even need that. That
right.
just throw that in the trash.
And
But
I kind of liked the premise of the ending too, whether or not, it's spoiler alert again, but whether or not were these people aliens? Were they demons? I mean, we don't really know what their ultimate
mm,
goal was other than to test us to see if we were worthy. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But I thought the ending was kind of lackluster, though, if I'm being completely honest. When it was over, I was like, I really thought there was going to be a little bit more to those characters, that like the puzzle itself. You know what I mean? The
mm,
movie's called The Box, and we don't spend a whole lot of time deciphering why these things were important. These trials that they're doing, they just kind of have a throwaway scene that's like, here's some stuff that we're doing, and here's what we would do next. Just more tests.
mm.
So I thought it could have been explored a little more. Take some of that boring shit in the middle out and give me more about where these creatures are from or what their ultimate plan was. Um, I just wanted more about the employers, overall. But I thought the acting was pretty solid, minus Cameron Diaz. Like I said, I like the way it was shot. I didn't think it had a very memorable soundtrack at all.
Mm.
None of that. I usually like that kind of stuff, and none of that really did
You
it
know
for
what's
me.
weird about that? I think it was scored by dudes from the Black Keys.
Really,
Yeah,
Hmm.
pretty sure.
I just, it didn't. There was nothing that
Mhm.
stuck with me on that. But overall, I gave it a 7 out of 10. It was a decent time. I didn't really care about getting my money back on it, so I was like, all right, well, that's one I've watched now, so
Mhm.
it's worth your time.
John?
All right. Yeah. So I dissent. I just the premise was cool. I've it has been done. I scrubbed through that one that John Paul, I think it was John Paul, put in our chat.
Oh, that was me.
That
I
was the
thought so.
80s one. That was
Yeah.
the 80s Twilight Zone. So it was none of this.
May I sit? This won't take much of your time. Inside this envelope is my card and the key that unlocks the dome of the button unit. Fits into this slot in the side, like so. In this way, you can push the button.
So,
So, when you push the button, two things will happen. First, someone whom you do not know will die.
you're kidding.
It's an unexpected idea. It takes some getting used to. But let me finish. So the person who dies will be someone you don't even know. And then afterward, you will receive $200,000.
Okay.
Program. There's just dude in the black clothes with a briefcase and a box. And then it's like it goes with the whole will they or won't they push it. That's where that goes. I'm pretty sure. And then they push it. Right? That's how it ends. I believe. I literally scrubbed through it because I didn't want to fucking consume anything else about this shit. Richard Matheson is like obviously a well-known writer. The story has to be better than the movie, or even the Twilight Zone episode. Yeah, Cameron Diaz phoned it in. This was a paycheck movie. Frank Langella was the standout. Well, James Marsden too. James Marsden was cool, but Frank Langella was the standout. I feel like not many people can do Sinister the way he does. He's sinister.
Right. He's fucking
fucking love
Skeletor, man.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Put some goddamn respect on his name, Frank Langella. And did you ever watch oh my god, why am I blanking on it? The Ninth Gate.
Oh yeah, with Johnny
Watch
Depp.
that.
Yeah,
Fucking love that movie.
he can scare you by just staring at you. Like he has those.
Dude, how intense was he in that movie? And then Skeletor. Oh my god, as a kid.
All the things in that movie they got wrong. They definitely got Skeletor right.
Skeletor made up for everything. That's how big of a deal he was in that movie. Like he was just so perfect. But yeah, so Frank Langella, if you're a fan, watch it because of that.
Right.
I did not care about these people. I didn't. And then I was like, oh, okay. He tried to give it. My notes are like, all right, they pushed it. James Marsden tried to give it back, and I go, now there's Watergates. You know? So it's like aliens or God. That's your choice.
It's definitely it seemed more aliens to me, but then I read something on
they
Wikipedia.
Said whoever's behind the lightning, that's who their employers are.
Right. But I read on, it seemed like aliens the whole way for me, with their CGI water portals. But then the Wikipedia said that they were stuck in purgatory. So
is that the truth?
That's what it said.
And they said that in the movie too, because I noted like it's hazy and I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they slapped Vaseline on the lens and then just tried to rub it off, and it got on my nerves. So, but then they mentioned something about purgatory and whatever. I don't know why they had to.
Well, James Marsden was like, "Is this purgatory?" I don't even know why he brought
and
that
then
up.
Is that black and white, too bright kaleidoscope heaven? Remember when he was traveling through that gate?
Yeah, because he says he understands
that shit.
Good for you.
That shit looked. I'll tell you. You know what that looked like to me. Do you remember on the original PlayStation, you could put a CD in it and play music, and it would have a visualizer on there.
Yeah,
that's exactly what that shit looked like. Or an old Windows 95.
Now this came out in 2009, so come on, CGI wasn't that great. So
no, it wasn't that it wasn't great. I was just like, okay,
unnecessary,
like 2001 shit.
Yeah.
At one point, they're getting into a pool, which logistically probably already has fucking water in it, but they've put CGI water. They could have done something.
The water's supposed to be like, pulsing in a line.
Yeah. Well, just put, get one of those fucking wave pools, dude. I don't know.
And everybody knows that's how you transfer your consciousness is through water. So everybody knows.
All right. So I said Richard Kelly does what he does best, confounds and alienates. Like, whatever. But yeah, like Cameron Diaz and her weird foot. Like, sorry, I don't care. He made you a prosthetic. You should be like, I don't need to push that box. or button on the box. I don't
Mm.
need to push it. Look at me. I got me a fake foot.
What surgery
I'm
were they
walking right,
trying to
good.
accomplish? They were trying to get them. They wanted the money for some surgery, right? What?
Yeah.
guess.
What do you do with the foot that's chopped off at the fucking toes? Like,
I don't know if because I thought they said that they were talking about like altering it so that the other prosthetics would be better.
Hmm.
I didn't catch all of that.
I don't know.
Well,
It doesn't matter.
the time period.
Doesn't
If you
matter.
didn't catch the time period, this is early 70s or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like in your face enough to really make it a timepiece. I don't know why they did that, but I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, but whatever. I give it a 3 for every dollar I spent on it. I
Wow.
don't ever want to watch this movie again.
And you won't, John.
Are
I
you really
promise.
that broke? I can Venmo you the money.
No, it was just no. I'm just busting balls. Because it was
You
such
know,
a boring
anytime
movie.
you bring in a thing we got to rent, it's going to be judged a little
know,
more
I know.
harshly.
Yeah, a little
Trust
bit.
me.
Yeah, I had to put some effort. I had to
Well,
spend
yeah.
$6 on this thing.
Yeah.
That's I feel the same way because when it was over, I was like, there was like 3 other movies I saw in there. I was like, ooh, later.
I was like, I could watch the brain again. Like, what the hell? But
Well,
yeah, sorry guys. That
yeah.
one.
You can't get 7s across the board every time, you know.
Right. Well, two out of 3 sevens is still a winner in my book. Huh?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I didn't pick up on the
Okay.
length because normally I'm the guy that's like, move
Yeah.
it along, chop off a half hour. But
Yeah, you are. I was like, that's how I was.
yeah.